The emergency broadcast crackled through the communications array of Forward Station Epsilon with the urgency of a dying star. 3 cubs missing. Dangerous terrain. Predators in the vicinity. Every available unit was to suspend current operations and join the search immediately. Captain Rhea Solon stood at attention in the briefing room, surrounded by representatives from a dozen species, each more agitated than the last. The Valorian commander's chitinous plates clicked nervously. The Threne liaison's bioluminescent patterns flickered in distress. Even the normally stoic Crinth officer seemed unsettled, its crystalline form refracting anxious light. "This is catastrophic," hissed Commander Velshaw, the station's Valorian overseer. "The cubs belong to Ambassador Cathor's bloodline. If anything happens to them, we'll find them," Rhea said simply, her voice carrying the weight of certainty that had earned her decorations across 3 star systems. The other officers turned to her, and she caught the familiar look in their compound eyes and optical sensors, that mixture of confusion and cautious hope that aliens always wore when a human made a promise that seemed impossible to keep. Rhea was already moving toward the armory when the Threne liaison called after her. "Captain, you should know, the cubs are apex predator young. Their species is classified as Class 7 dangerous. If cornered, even juveniles can—" "Noted," Rhea interrupted, not breaking stride. She'd read the files. She knew what she was walking into. 20 minutes later, Rhea was threading through the crimson forests of Epsilon 7's southern continent, her combat harness loaded with tracking equipment, emergency medical supplies, and enough firepower to discourage anything with teeth and bad intentions. The twin suns hung low on the horizon, painting the alien vegetation in shades of blood and copper. Her helmet's HUD displayed the cub's last known location, a rocky outcropping near the old settlement ruins, approximately 3 kilometers ahead. Search parties were converging from multiple directions, their comm chatter filling her ear with updates and coordinates. Rhea tuned most of it out. She'd learned long ago that the best tracking happened when you paid attention to what the land was telling you, not what panicked voices were screaming through your headset. She found the first sign 2 kilometers in, small claw marks on a fallen log, still fresh. Then a tuft of juvenile fur caught on a thorn bush. The cubs had come this way, moving fast but not panicked. Playful maybe, curious. Humans understood curiosity. It was the thing that had driven them off their homeworld and into the stars, despite every logical reason to stay put and safe. The ruins emerged from the forest like broken teeth, remnants of an expedition that had failed decades before Rhea was born. Crumbling walls and collapsed archways created a maze of shadows and hiding spots, perfect territory for adventurous cubs. "All units, this is Solon," she transmitted. "I'm at the ruins. Holding position for—" A sound stopped her mid-sentence. Not a growl or a cry for help, but something far more concerning. Giggling. Rhea's hand moved automatically to her sidearm as she rounded a corner and stopped dead. 3 cubs sat in a shaft of dying sunlight, tumbling over each other in a pile of fur, claws, and needle-sharp teeth. They were each the size of a large terrier, with the sleek, muscular builds and predatory grace of their species. Naru, the largest, had distinctive black markings across her muzzle. Vex was stockier, with bright amber eyes that missed nothing. Lyra, the smallest, had fur that seemed to shift colors in the light. They froze when they spotted her, their ears swiveling forward with interest rather than fear. For a long moment, human and cubs regarded each other in silence. Then Naru chirped, a high, questioning sound, and took a tentative step forward. "Easy," Rhea murmured, lowering herself into a crouch. She knew the protocols. Remain calm. Don't make sudden movements. Wait for the extraction team with proper containment equipment. Naru reached her first, sniffing curiously at her gloved hand. Vex and Lyra followed, circling around her with the confidence of apex predators who'd never learned to fear anything. Their little claws clicked against her armor plating. Then Lyra did something unexpected. She grabbed onto one of Rhea's shoulder straps, part of the combat harness that held her equipment, and hauled herself up with surprising strength. "Hey, wait," Rhea started, but Vex was already scrambling up the other side, using her webbing and pouches like a climbing wall. Naru, not to be outdone, launched herself at Rhea's chest and clung there, purring like a miniature engine. Within seconds, all 3 cubs had positioned themselves on Rhea's shoulders and upper torso. hanging from her straps and harness points like bizarre furry ornaments. They settled in with obvious satisfaction, their small bodies warm against her armor. Captain Solon, report. Commander Velshaw's voice burst through her comm. We're detecting your beacon at the ruins. Have you encountered the cubs? Rhea looked down at Naru, who had wrapped herself around a strap across Rhea's chest and was kneading contentedly with her claws. She looked up at Vex, who'd draped himself across her left shoulder like a scarf. Lyra had claimed the right side, her tail wrapped around Rhea's neck for balance. Contact confirmed, Rhea said carefully. The cubs are secured. She started walking back toward the extraction point, moving slowly to avoid dislodging her passengers. The cubs showed no interest in leaving their perches, seeming perfectly content to ride along. The search parties found her 15 minutes later, and the sight that greeted them would become the most shared image in Forward Station Epsilon's history. Captain Rhea Solon, decorated human officer, walking calmly through the alien forest with 3 Class 7 Predator cubs hanging off her shoulder straps like living medals. Ambassador Cathor, the cub's guardian, approached cautiously. The massive alien's natural weapons and armored hide marked him as an apex predator in his own right. He looked at his wayward charges, then at the human who'd become their mobile perch. They won't release, Rhea said apologetically. I tried to. Cathor made a sound that the translator interpreted as laughter. Of course they won't. You're warm, you move smoothly, and you smell like safety. Cubs know these things instinctively. He tilted his head, studying her. Your species. You carry your young close to your bodies, yes? On your backs and chests? We do, Rhea confirmed, finally understanding. The cubs had recognized something in her, some ancient mammalian instinct that transcended species. Then perhaps, Cathor said, his voice warm with amusement, you could escort them back to the settlement? They seem to have chosen their preferred transport. And so Captain Rhea Solon completed her patrol. Her regulation combat harness transformed into a mobile nursery, 3 purring cubs adorning her shoulders like the galaxy's strangest commendations. The other species watched and whispered among themselves, adding another entry to their growing files on humanity, capable of bearing young and warriors' burdens simultaneously. Approaches both with equal seriousness and unexpected tenderness. Proceed with caution and respect. Rhea just smiled and adjusted Lyra's grip on her strap, thinking that some metals were warmer than others.